Hello world. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded in a long time. I had to go put the trash out. Yeah. Anyways, Buzz Aldrin, what happened to you in all the confusion? And honestly, what happened to me in all the confusion? This novel is set in Stavanger within the Faroe Islands and follows our main character Matthias, who is anything but a main character. He doesn't want fame, recognition, or power. In fact, he'd rather not be noticed at all by anyone. Matthias idolizes Buzz Aldrin, but not for his accomplishments, instead for being number 2. For being a cog in the ever-turning wheel of life. He wants to marry his longtime girlfriend Hel, continue to be a gardener at the flower shop, and allow life to just pass him by. He even has an incredible singing voice, but refuses to be a part of his best friend's band. After his life starts to fall apart, he finds himself on the Faroe Islands all alone. A man named Harvestine saves him from the side of the road and brings him to his halfway house for the mentally unwell. The Faroes represent Matthias. They're isolated, they're lonely, but still a part of the wheel, slowly turning until one day they're completely forgotten. While living with Harvestine, he meets a few other people, namely Polly, Anna, and Enan. They've all been living with Harvestine as his patients, while the government sponsors Harvestine in his efforts to rehabilitate them. Each has their own past that continues to haunt them and doesn't allow them to leave. Matthias, however, grows to like the Faroes as well as these new people that he's met. But it seems he only likes it because there's nobody there. No one knows him, expects anything from him, and he's allowed to work and create without being noticed. As Matthias lives on the islands, he battles loneliness, learns about his wants and his needs, and tries to come to terms with the fact that he'll never be as isolated or alone as he wants to be. As a translation, the book is pretty easy to read, it's straightforward, and we follow the voice of Matthias from the first person, making the story come to life through his own eyes. The author is a playwright, and you can really tell that a play had a great influence on the style and structure of this novel. It has a limited cast, small set of locations, and a straightforward story arc that follows a single character, Matthias, and his transformation throughout life. The book covers a few central themes, such as finding one's voice, acceptance of responsibility, and understanding your place in the world. There's no fast-paced moments of action. Instead, the action really takes place within Matthias' own psyche. I'd originally picked the book because I was looking for something fast-paced, almost like a thriller with, Matthias struggling to survive against his own mind, and that's not exactly what I got. Not to say that the book isn't enjoyable in its own, it just wasn't what I was looking for at that moment. Additionally, the book won't constantly make you think, but there's definitely some good conversations to be had here. For example, what our purpose is? Can everyone be great? What happens to those who are forgotten but continue to work and make the world work? Is it for you? This book is for anyone looking for a kind of slow-paced novel where the antagonist is really the character's own mind, and where the struggles are all internal and the hero has to overcome himself. On a scale of 10, I would probably rate this book a 6. Let's talk a little bit about some of the analysis of this book. Finding one's own voice and being recognized, and then also the Faroe Islands basically representing Matthias. Finding one's own voice is probably one of the central themes in this. It tries to prove that there's no one out there that can be completely isolated and alone, or is needed by others, whether it be family, friends, loved ones, maybe even a pet. I don't think anyone can be as isolated as Matthias thinks he wants to be. And Matthias, this is also sort of shown and proved through Matthias buying into the lies of Buzz Aldrin. He grows up thinking Buzz Aldrin was just this astronaut who went to space, did his job. In fact, Buzz Aldrin, he does take advantage of his fame. He does take advantage of his character. He does get the recognition that he deserves, but he's not as isolated as Matthias likes to think. I'd also like to point out that the Faroe Islands pretty much represent Matthias throughout the novel. It's isolated, it's far away from everyone, there's basically no one there. but it's still needed at the end of the day. There still is people there. And it's, even if there was no one else there except him and the other people within Harvestine's halfway house, it would still be needed by them. And the last point that I want to talk about is if Matthias really doesn't want to be seen. I don't think he so much doesn't want to be seen so much so as he's actually just kind of afraid of success. And my reasoning for this is of alcohol within the novel. Usually, we hear all the time, when you're drunk, you're your true self. Anytime in the novel when Matthias gets drunk, he ends up doing something to be seen, or he sings. He's always the best singer people have basically ever heard, and he sings a lot at the top of his lungs. He really tries to steal the show when he's drunk, and I think this shows that he does want to be seen. He does want to be heard and understood, but I think he's just afraid of failure, taking a step out of his comfort zone and not living up to what people expect or want of him, or joining his best friend's band and he turns out to not be the best singer in the world. I think that's more so, Matthias's true struggle, and I don't think he fully acknowledges that or comes to terms with that. I think more so than Matthias wanting to be a cog in the wheel and be in the background, I think he does want to be seen and heard. He's just fearful of taking that step. That'll do it for this review, guys. Please follow me on Twitch, Aaron Manfrin. I stream games on the Switch, Xbox. Follow me on Instagram, also at aaron.manfrin. I do photography. I post my photos there. I'd really appreciate it if you followed me on both those platforms. And then subscribe if you want to see future videos. I'm going to try to upload more. Thanks everyone. Bye and FWAP!